Hello. Before you get into this episode, we have got a tiny favour to ask you. And it actually is pretty small. It literally will take you 2 seconds.
So 2% of you already do this, but there's a whopping 98% that don't. And we're talking to you. We need you to hit follow or subscribe to this podcast in order to help The Curve create more and more episodes of bigger and better content that you can listen to.
Yes. So it's literally the easiest thing ever. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, could you please hit the follow or subscribe? It means you won't miss an episode. It means the more people that find this podcast and listen, the bigger we can make our production. We can get better guests on. It's like the most helpful thing ever. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the follow or subscribe, we would be so grateful.
So grateful.
Other than that, enjoy the episode. Welcome to Raising the Curve, a podcast designed to teach you everything you need to know to be better with your money. In the wise words of Amy Schumer, we're slipping carrots into the brownie recipe.
I don't really get the saying.
It's kind of like eating vegetables that actually taste good. You know, like putting
still
carrot
not
in the
with
brownie
you.
recipe.
Are you on the script?
It's basically like saying investing in finance can be boring as but it totally doesn't need to be.
Okay. So we're making it fun by putting the carrot, aka the vegetables, which are good for you, into the brownie recipe.
Okay, we got there. Okay.
Okay.
Wow, you've really got a finance brain.
Yeah, one of us has to.
This is true. Okay, come and learn alongside me from Vic Harris, ex-fund manager, where I'm going to ask all the questions that you wish you could.
And I'm going to be eating all the brownie you wish you could.
No, that's so not the joke, Vic.
Oh.
Okay, just come and talk and learn and laugh with us because together we really can raise the curve.
So we have 2 very patient guests in here.
Very special guests in here.
Our oldest?
Our oldest, our baldest.
Yeah. Our most
Just
masculine.
saying, you guys, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us.
Exactly. Whoa. Okay.
All right, Michael Hallwright. You just keep it down in the cheap seats for a moment.
Yes.
Now, we have brought our fathers in studio. We've also got Miso in studio and Vic's dog.
Sorry.
And do you know what? This is something we've spoken about for so long. We pitched the idea months ago.
Yeah.
Neither of them were keen. They're still not that keen.
Yeah. We had to entice them with some banana bread and some coffees.
Do you know what, though? They both turned up in the cutest shirts. They're both wearing T-shirt shirts. Actually, Dad nearly left the house wearing like a stained jumper, basically no shoes. Yes, you were. Also,
Sounds like
your
someone I
headphones
know.
are a bit crooked there,
Che
Dad.
Guevara.
Anyway, he was like, oh, well, you're not filming it, are you? I was like, yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. And then Ian, Vic's dad's, bought an array of tops that are in the car just in case the current one wasn't.
I have got a pretty gaudy, flowery shirt in the car, but
I know.
wasn't allowed to wear it.
I'm glad that's in the car.
Did you
That's
have to
what I do.
okay it with Vic?
Oh, yeah, the wardrobe control was there.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the wardrobe control has been going for about 30 years, so he's well versed to wear the nice pale green shirt that I actually bought him for Christmas.
I do buy a selection of Hawaiian shirts just to annoy the kids every now and again.
Yes. Party shirts.
Dad does that too. He's got like a surfboard shirt. It's just got
that's so
surfboards all
cool.
over it.
Cool.
It's hideous.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, it's not.
Do you still have that or have you been
Yeah,
forced to throw
absolutely.
that out?
I nearly wore it today.
Oh, imagine. Now,
We should have
firstly,
spoken Mike beforehand.
Yeah. Coordinated.
They wouldn't
Round
let
2.
us, I don't think.
When we do
we
part
would have been
2.
out of here.
So Vic and I have joked for a really long time about how the fact that you two are incredibly similar. I'm not sure if we've passed that on to either of you, but we're
No.
always like, God, Ian and Mike could be best mates if they hung out.
They just fix it, guys. You know, they
You
like
always
to...
complain when we call you to help us fix something, but secretly love
Surely
it.
not.
Yeah. It's like...
It happens often.
Yeah. Secretly love it though. Secretly love it. Like I remember this one time, Dad, and when I was purchasing a car, and I'd always call you when I bought my cars because I want Dad's oversight of, am I buying a
And you
lemon?
bought them anyway.
Yeah. And he's like, don't buy a European car. That's what you sound like, Dad.
Same, Dad
Yeah.
always said that.
And I'm like,
You
don't.
can't afford to fix them.
I know, oh my gosh. We should have just got one of you in here because you're pretty much saying the same stuff. But anyway, and then I remember the one time that I just went and bought a car without consulting you. And you were like, oh, well, did you check this? I was like, yes. did you check that? Yes. Did you check this? I was like, yes. And I was like, you've taught me well, Dad. And it was like this pivotal moment of, oh, she's grown up.
Doesn't need me anymore.
Doesn't need me, but I still need you. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Just the other day, Dad has been like, you need to get a warrant on this car. If you don't get a warrant, you're going to get a ticket, blah, blah,
On the
blah.
Honda Jazz?
The Honda Jazz, yeah. And I took it in to get serviced or waft or whatever it's called. And they were like, you've got to change the windscreen wipers. And I was like, admin, as if I'm going to do that. Trot on home, hadn't done it. Woke up the next morning and Dad had gone and fixed my wipers, got me a new waft. I was like, honestly, where would I be without you? Like, can you move to London? What am I going to do here?
Yeah. The number of times you just come up the driveway when I used to live at home and you just pat the side of your cheek. Like, give me a kiss, say thank you, and I'd give you a kiss on the cheek, and then you'd be like, just washed your car.
Just washed your house. I think it was the last one.
Yeah, just washed my house. I know. It took me a wee while to notice, and I was like, hang on, my house looks really clean.
It's so funny. The other day we were cleaning cars together out the front of the house, and Dad, I mean, when I say cleaning together, Dad basically cleaned mine. And my only job was to spray water to get the soaps off, and I just kept spraying him. He was like,
me instead of the car. Yeah. Hello.
He was like, aim the hose, Sophie. I was like, sorry. Anyway.
Gosh, we could go on about stories.
You guys can catch up in your own time. We'll send you off for a cute lunch after this. But the reason we wanted to get you in was because we wanted to chat about what we were like as kids. So not just kids, but also teenagers and, just talk about, to do with money and finances and all the pocket money jazz, but also just in general because it's funny. And I also don't really know anything about Vic as a kid because we met as adults.
Yeah.
So I don't really have much context as to why she is the way she is.
I would love you to ask me that, not my dad, because I feel like we would have very different stories.
I don't know if we've got enough time, so this time around.
But do you remember what if you were to describe Vic as a kid, and I'm talking under 7, because when you're 7 or by the age of 7, you've completely developed your relationship with money, which is quite fascinating. Well, not completely, but more or less. So up until the age of 7, if you were describing Vic as a person, and it doesn't have to be with relation to money, what was she like?
And Dad, just remember, a lot of people can listen to this, so...
Now you're going to scare him. And
no,
he's going to
I'm kidding. No, go, you have free reign. I'm going to take my headphones off and just not listen.
Well, one of the very first, Vic's always been a helper, and I think that's reflected in what she's doing now. But one of the first images I have of Vic was when she wouldn't have been 2 years old, and I was extending the deck at the back of the house that we just bought. And my little helper was there tipping all the nails and screws down through the decking holes. So I had to go and recover them from underneath the deck to carry on building the deck. But, but she was helping. It was great.
Oh, my God, that is so cute.
And focusing on that help thing is really what she's done. She helped prune the rosemary we spoke about, from one side of the driveway, not the other side. So it was
just one side.
So just one side was denuded of rosemary, but it was all tied up neatly on little cardboard packs, and she was selling it with a friend down at Mission Bay. So
how old do you think she would have been when she was stealing the rosemary?
Seven or eight.
Yeah.
God, that's good.
Yeah, very entrepreneurial. I didn't see a penny of the proceeds though.
McDonald's did. I remember this older lady came up. She's like,
to make you lunch.
Yeah. I remember this older lady came up to us. She's like, "What are you saving for, girls?" And I was like, don't say McDonald's cheeseburger. Don't say McDonald's cheeseburger. And I was like, a bike. Because I just thought that's what all kids were saving for. And she was like, oh, bless.
Secretly, all you wanted was a little mac and cheese combo.
Then you pay twice the price for that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And she's probably doing that because we didn't normally allow them to go down to McDonald's. It wasn't a thing in our house.
So rebel would be the other word.
Absolutely, yeah. Helping yourself to McDonald's.
So rebel would be the other word you'd sum up. Helper and rebel.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
and is there any other stories that stick out about her? So it could be anything from
second child's always competitive, and Sarah was when they were in their 5 and 6 year old and 3 year old, for Vic. Sarah would go and jump off the third stair up the stairs, and Vic would always go one better and jump off the fourth one and hit the bottom step and fall flat on her face. But you had to be better, and so there was a competitiveness with sister. And then at one point, and I'm guessing it was around that 7, 8, 9 year old point in time, when they were saving holiday money or birthday money, but Sarah said she'd got and look, I'm picking a figure here, like $400 in a little bank account, and Vicky had got $200. So there was a race on to be the first to get $1,000 in their bank account, and Vic won by a big margin. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you doing?
And I don't know what the motivation was there, other than to be bigger and better and faster than sister.
Mum had no rosemary at that point.
The bush was gone.
Nor did the neighbours.
Yeah. Nor the neighbours. The whole street was gone. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
You didn't remember the two sides of the rosemary, one on one side and one on the other?
No. But I do. Mum found a letter actually that my sister had written my grandparents, and it was like, "Hi, Nana and Papa," and I don't know what she started talking about a day, and then she was like, "And I don't know what's happening to my money, but it keeps disappearing. But don't worry, I'm doing okay."
Is this you?
No, this is my sister.
So you were stealing from your
No,
sister?
I wasn't stealing.
No. I reckon you were stealing. I reckon she was
Sarah was a spendthrift.
Yeah. No, but no, I do remember a competitive element, and I see that in my niece and nephew as well. The youngest always wants to do what the oldest is doing, but you're like, oh, no, too young. So, yeah.
And so then if you were to compare Vic with her sister, was there any clear differences or similarities between, specifically with money or career or working, or was it pretty much of a muchness?
Both pretty driven, but got to the point where it was always pocket money versus spending money versus money for shoes, money for clothes, when they're, I don't know, perhaps early teens, maybe a little earlier. And to solve that argument about pressuring a parent to buy a new pair of shoes, we said we agreed there was a clothing allowance or a spend allowance. We came up with this concept of a spend allowance, and it was, I'd say, $100 a month. Over and above a pocket money type thing. And that the children had their choice of what they spent that on. Now, if they wanted to go and save for a couple of months and get a $200 pair of shoes, that was it. They had nothing left. If they wanted to buy a $50 pair of shoes and have some money for something else, that was their choice. It wasn't a case of putting the pressure on the parent. We turned it around and put the responsibility back on the children to determine what they were going to spend their money on.
I do remember, though, that was I think that was when we turned 16, we got that. Or something. There was some, or maybe it was 14. But I remember being obviously 3 years younger than my sister, and she got this spending allowance. And I was like, I want it too, and she was like, no. She's like, it's so restrictive. You don't want the spending allowance. Okay. And I was like, no, I want it because I want to be like you, and I want to have the ability to spend my money, not ask mum and dad if I need everything or if I want something. It's like I want to be able to have the freedom and independence to spend my money how I want. And so I remember asking for it earlier than whatever age it was. And my sister was like, oh, you're so stupid. So stupid. And then, but I think it also comes back to that independence. I just wanted to not have to ask my parents for everything. I wanted my own money. And that probably came down to the selling the rosemary, getting my first job, all of that kind of stuff, because I just wanted I wanted to make my own decisions with my money. It was but less about me. We have another duo in this room.
Honestly, even when I smile, I look at the way my teeth are, and it's like, God, we're similar. Dad's teeth are starting to move back into the center, and you've got when you smile, there's mine are doing the exact same thing. I'm like, we're literally.
Well, you are half of him.
I know, but it's terrifying to see. I mean, you look great, Dad. You look really good. But it's quite weird how similar.
Do you think the hairstyle will follow?
I'm hoping to hold on to my hair a little.
Sorry, I mean, might get long hair.
Yeah.
A ponytail, maybe.
I've seen photos. Dad just really compensated with a giant moustache back in the day. So he was like, the hair's going, but don't you worry, the slug is not going anywhere.
Do you know I've never seen my dad without a moustache?
Oh, God, that's weird. What's under your lip?
Neither has Mum. Mum hasn't seen you without a moustache either.
Is there something under there? Do you have a big mole or something?
No. Just
I wish
it's just there. Saves your snack for later, you see.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No. I don't know.
Aren't you curious to just lick your upper lip?
That's so funny.
It's been with me for
40 years?
And the rest.
Wow.
Wow, you must
since
love
late teens.
The mo.
Late teens.
I mean, it looks great.
I was going to attack you one night and just shave it off. Anyway, sorry.
I
Back
must
to
admit, I'll
Sophie.
never forget actually having a moustache, and then we decided to remove it one day, And I remember your mum saying to me, let me just give a few days to decide whether, what we'll do, whether you should keep it
I
or
love that
give
she's
you one.
dictating your facial
No,
hair.
and then within one day she said, I think you should grow it back. I was going,
like,
really?
Don't like it. Don't like it.
I don't know when I got rid of it, but
That's so funny.
So, what was Sophie Hallwright like when she was younger? And specifically, well, actually not specifically.
Under 7. Let's go under 7.
Let's start under 7.
under 7, she was
Yeah.
a very happy,
Yeah.
actually gorgeous little kid. She loved life and we,
Hasn't changed a bit.
no, exactly.
And what about in relation to money? Was there any young money stories
No,
or
well,
like what was she like with pocket money or chores, or did you
Well,
guys have that at home?
We did. We had,
Little star chart or something?
we did that, and that they got their age. So if they were 6 or 7, they got $6 or $7, and basically that kept on going until we had the same situation as
Sorry,
Ian.
was the pocket money, Dad, so say $6 for being 6 or whatever,
Yep.
was that just for me to keep and spend on?
Well, you were. I mean, the idea was that you would do chores to actually earn it. So, and at that kind of age, it's not an awful lot you can do apart from empty the dishwasher, and I can't imagine you
Make
washing
my bed or whatever.
Exactly. I can't imagine you mowing the lawns or washing the car because you still don't do that.
Excuse me, this is not a roast.
I remember my sister used to. We had to unload the dishwasher, and because I was younger, I only had to do the knives and forks, and she had to do the whole rest of the dishwasher. She was like, "This is so unfair."
It sounds like Sarah got the shit end of the stick, to be honest.
I mean, poor Sarah. How Sarah survived, I don't know.
So we had pocket money that we were kind of given just for being good around the house. I even find that kind of weird in a sense now. It's like, but then you grow up and no one's paying you to empty the dishwasher or make
You
your
just have to do
bed.
it for free.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if that's teaching me a particularly
No.
great habit, to be
No.
honest.
No, I would agree. I mean, but you kind of had to justify somehow
To give your
you
kid
the
money.
money. What we all earn money, and we
You-
try to learn about that skill.
I think you do. You have to. It's reward. I mean, for industry or endeavour. I think rather than just being given money. I mean, in real life, we don't get given money.
I know, so the concept's quite weird, pocket money, because it's like, where's it coming from and why?
Did you ever try and explain saving or anything like that to us? Like, hey, don't spend it all if you put some money away, so then you can have delayed gratification and buy something bigger later. Was there-
I think that concept would have probably gone way over a 7-year-old's head.
yeah,
Totally
as
agree.
such,
Totally agree.
yeah.
and so it often goes over adults' heads as well. So.
Well, I was about to say, like, I think with that, I mean, oh my God, I actually don't even really want to go there, but past seven onwards, let's talk about, because I think under the age of 7, you're right, those conversations aren't exactly going to be absorbed or concepts won't be understood. Like, even if you're trying, I think that you'd be hard pressed to find a 7-year-old that understands the concept of like saving. And maybe in like a roundabout way with the marshmallow test, you can teach, whatever it's called, like have a marshmallow now. If you don't eat it in 15 minutes, you get 2. Like that.
Did you try that with us?
No, we didn't. But
I reckon I would have eaten it. I was a bit of a
we tried it with Ophelia, didn't we?
yeah.
What does
yeah.
she do? So Ophelia's Vic's niece.
Yeah, she's
Ate it and denied it.
yeah.
Does she? She ate it and pretended. She
Yeah,
hadn't.
she pretended she hadn't eaten it.
That's pretty
That's
bad.
like worse than worse. That's
Yeah,
like,
that's bad.
That's actually the worst outcome
I know.
ever. Not just did she ate it, but she also lied about it.
oh, I think I would have done the same.
So then looking past the age of 7 into early teens, later in teenage life, and do you remember like Vic's want to get a job or earn money, or how did you see that as she grew up?
Yeah, I mean, I think teenage years, you're talking school years, and one of the programs within the school was a young enterprise where the child has to develop a business plan and
Oh
execute
my God,
it.
I did this too.
And that's a great
I loved
concept. And Vic got very lucky, I suppose is not the word, but anyway.
Excuse me, I had a lot of hard work in
Vic
it.
decided that she was going to sell goldfish. Now, you can only order goldfish in bulk. They come in about the big bags of 200 or something like
Yeah.
this.
Wow.
Which is quite gross.
But she had a stand and had a sort of an orange theme going with the goldfish happening there. And it just so happened that Nemo, Searching Nemo or Finding Nemo, came out just before this.
Ooh,
so
that's quite
suddenly,
good.
Marketing timing.
not as though she wanted to paint stripes on the goldfish, but suddenly the goldfish and goldfish became very popular. And I went along to see this display that she had at the school. And I was very impressed with the fact that there was all this orange regalia, including a very short but very nice orange fishing rod.
I was honestly waiting for you to say that Vic dressed up as Finding Nemo
Not
or
quite,
something.
no. But this fishing rod, and I'm looking at this fishing rod and I'm thinking, that's a very nice orange fishing rod, but
my gosh, she painted
my
yours.
one was white. So suddenly I realised that my fishing rod, my special boat rod, had a short one, very useful, was hanging on the wall there, bright orange. It's still got orange flecks on it today where I tried to get most of it off, but it's still...
I didn't realise how much a fishing rod was worth. I was like, just buy another one.
That is so good.
But I do remember...
Did you
made a small
spray it?
fortune.
I painted it.
Oh,
I
you
painted it with
painted
orange.
it?
Yeah.
How did you
Painted
get
it.
away with them not seeing orange paint everywhere?
I don't know.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Good.
But I do remember looking around and I saw all these girls at school carrying all these clear plastic fish bags with little orange fish in them. And I was like, yeah, we nailed it.
They weren't quite sure where they were going to
No,
put them.
I know. Yeah,
that
they'd
was-
all turn up home being like, Mum, I bought a goldfish. I'm like, cool. But yeah.
Was like 2.0 by fish tanks for the fish?
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say, follow
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Toiletry bags. Do you remember? They had the little cherries on them or like the little designs and they
yeah.
were kind of like, anyway, they were big at the time.
Yeah.
And so we imported them. Do you remember Red Currant, that shop?
Yeah.
They used to sell them. So we got them and we sold them at the market day as well. And we did really well. That was the first time I ever remember making money and actually like knowing that the harder I worked, the more I could sell.
Yeah.
And also feeling super proud that I'd come up with this like quite good idea that it was the same thing. You'd see people buying it and you'd see them everywhere and you were like, oh, cool. But I don't think, because for me, because you then went and got a job through your high school years, right? Like you actually worked for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Whereas
You couldn't.
I never could work because I was always doing gymnastics.
Always.
Yeah.
So I had
okay.
like morning, afternoon training all the time. I think that was a real defining moment in a bad way for me, not having to or being able to work for my own money because I like for the whole of school never really had any control over my income, if that makes sense. Or like I didn't have the time to do it even if I wanted to. Did I want to? I don't even remember.
No, I mean, all you wanted to do was gym.
Yeah.
But then I think that instills competitiveness and
Absolutely.
drive, and which later in life is almost even more important because the money will come from that, if that makes sense. If you've got competitiveness and drive in a business area, then financial success will flow from that. So it's kind of put us two together.
There was certainly fundraising, I
Yeah.
remember, for going
Yeah.
to Europe because she went to the Worlds twice. so-
Amazing.
I love that you just drop in a little like, I'm so proud of my daughter. Okay,
I was.
let's talk about, so as a teenager, you gave Vic a certain amount of money basically to pay for clothing and stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, it was her discretionary spend. Yes.
Yeah.
What was happening for
We did
Sophie?
exactly the same scenario. I mean, it got to the stage where you wanted, I mean, like all kids, they want more than they're allowed, and we decided that was definitely going to be the best way to
Shut me up, basically.
You make the choice. Well, you're never going to be able to give your child, and you don't want them to have as much as they want because you want them to learn reality, and reality is that you can't buy everything you want
I do remember doing the paper round as well
in the mornings.
in the after
Amazing.
school.
Really?
My poor nanny at the time having to come around and wrap up newspapers with me and put them
literally hates me. I am the most annoying human ever. She's like, hi, can Sophie please get back to me about this invoice? I'm like, Eileen, I'm busy.
Doing a podcast.
And especially because Mum's retired, and then like half an hour later, she's like, Sophie, have you seen my email?
She's like calling me. Hi, just checking again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry, Eileen. She just hates me.
Shout out to Eileen.
Yeah.
Shout out to Eileen.
No,
She
yes,
is
thank you. Yeah.
amazing.
The cheapest accountant.
Yeah. She gets flowers every 2 years.
If that. What was the one thing you reckon that you tried to instill in us as children, or instill in me? Is it that money doesn't grow on trees? Is it, what was the kind of the one thing?
Yeah, probably it's not, money isn't free. And the more you manage it, the better it's likely to be for you.
Yes.
And now you've taken that to another level. I didn't have any financial awareness built into my schooling or pre-work education. More so that I think that happened to a certain extent with yourselves and your generation, young enterprise, those sorts of things. And I'd like to think that there's a continuation of that there's more involvement in the education spheres with the likes of the knowledge you have, Vic, and the curve
Have you
sharing.
heard of the curve? It's this new business.
But into schools.
Yeah, to schools.
Into educational facilities.
The younger you can learn this, the better, definitely.
What about you, Dad? What do you think was something you wanted to teach me about money, or tried to teach me?
Well, I think when I think back, I think your granny ate you in and started your bank accounts.
Yes, I do remember that actually.
And I'm sure she would have put something was put on that account at the same time as she opened it for you to start you off.
You're like, is all bank accounts like this? You open them and there's like $1,000 in them.
See, that's kind of what I mean though.
That's called KiwiSaver. Oh, no, not anymore.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think she put $500 in, which is huge for a 5-year-old, I remember it was either 200 or 500. I might be adding GST to the story, but it was like decent. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And
I might open one with her as well.
Yeah, same here.
But I remember I think one of the things for me growing up, going to a school that was incredibly affluent. And I was always surrounded by people that had so much more than we did at home and in all areas. I was always comparing myself to the people around me, which is totally natural as a kid. And tell me if this is wrong, but the idea of trying to teach me that different people have different amounts of money was kind of like something that I remember Mum saying that she was trying to instill, everyone has different amounts of money. It's not an equal playing field. This is what you've got, someone else is different.
Absolutely.
Which is such a hard thing to teach a kid because it's like, well, why can't I have what all my friends have?
The point is too, you're either a surgeon or you're you're doing whatever. But I mean, everybody obviously is played differently, and that's something that a kid who hasn't even gone to university yet is quite hard to instill. You don't even know what you want to do yourself at that stage. So trying to instill what other professions, pay down the track. I guess the question would be to Vic, what initially got you interested in going to do finance? I mean, that picking that vocation rather than, picking, going down broadcasting.
Oh, so it's my fault that I don't earn very good money. Good to know.
No, I'm just interested.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot of pressure on a 17-year-old if they're thinking of going to university. And we've done talks at universities, and you can see the pressure in these kids that are like, oh my gosh, if I choose the wrong degree, that's my train of the rest of my life. And it's like, no, it's like, oh my gosh, it does not dictate what you do, but use the time at university to kind of broaden your horizons and learn different things and see what you do like and what you don't like. And I definitely did that. I tried law and I was like, oh gosh, this is definitely not for me. I just literally fell into finance. And it was a paper I took at university, and I was like, I resonated with the teacher. I could see the concepts of what we were learning, using them in real day and using them in everyday life. I loved how businesses worked, and finance was kind of tied into that. And so it was kind of,
perfect.
But I mean, I would love to go and learn psychology. You always kind of think back, what would you change or what would you like to do differently? But I don't know. I can always can.
But Dad, also, what do you think, how do you think money was talked about in our family growing up? Like, was it a feeling of stress? Was there a feeling of not enough? Because even if you don't directly talk to the kids, you pick up on that kind of energy.
Well, I mean, I remember back to my father, and my dad basically was a professional, he was medico. And
sorry, that didn't what?
He was medico. He was a surgeon. So basically,
I did not hear that.
Yeah.
So he, but I remember many times saying that the cost of going to school was a lot of money, and he needed to work hard to do it. And I remember, he was also very practical. So at home we would do a lot of the things ourselves. I mean, Dad actually built all the drive. Concreted the drive and did all the walls and did the fish ponds, did everything. He was really good with his hands. So I kind of learnt that skill.
To do rather than to pay someone else to
do
do
rather
it.
than pay somebody.
Which is so interesting.
You're like that.
Well, I was going to say, because
Yeah.
I reckon I've fully picked up on that. Like, Vix had to really instill in me, like, your time might be better spent doing this rather than spending an hour doing this. Like, just outsource that $35 an hour to so. Like, even yesterday I got home and Dad and Kath, his wife, had like spent the entire day trimming hedges. And I was like, why would you not pay someone to go do that? Like, you're not a hedge trimmer.
I am a hedge trimmer. Are you kidding me? It's a full-time job.
But that's kind of what I mean. It's like, Dad's like, well, why would I outsource that? Why would I pay for it? Which I do understand, but I think there's almost like the scarcity mindset around not paying for things. And forgive me if this sounds super brutal, but like that definitely is how it felt growing up inside our family too. It was like there was this feeling of we don't have enough, and therefore we have to actually scrounge around a little bit in terms of, oh no, that's super expensive, or no, there was always kind of a save a dollar element that I felt as a kid, and that's definitely how I am now with money.
Which is a good thing as well, though. You don't want to be out there in the world not knowing the value of a dollar, and going into life with that frugal mindset, or at least an element of it, I think is super important. Otherwise, you end up in way worse situations where you think that you can just get by with money coming in, and I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's not a bad thing.
The number of people who go out and use their credit cards and
Totally.
actually go and spend money and suddenly realise they're in debt, and then have a real issue.
But I think, though, I have done that, firstly. And
should we talk about that now?
Yeah, basically I was in, like, do you remember the Christchurch earthquake? I lost basically all of my stuff. We just moved me into a flat. Remember, it was like a week before.
I was there a week before the earthquake.
Yeah, and then the earthquake happened.
We got curtains, we got TVs,
microwaves.
We got everything for her to set her up for the year. And a week later, basically, they had the Christchurch earthquake.
Vic was caught in it as well.
Yeah.
And I remember, didn't get back into her flat for about 9 months.
Yeah, it was ages.
And it kind of looked like it was a veranda when you went back in. It was
like all the walls had gone. Everything was mouldy. But
I always remember. So she rang us up and said, "Oh gosh, this is terrible. I need to get out." And she got out. We got her out, and the next day I think we flew you back to Auckland. And she said, "I'm absolutely frazzled. I think I need to go to stay with my friend in Melbourne and recuperate." So we said,
hold on. Okay, hold on.
I think I need to go to a tropical island in Fiji and just just get rid of the stress.
Hold on. In my defense, I literally got on the plane with what I was wearing. Like everything I owned, all my clothes were stuck in this flat. So I genuinely actually had the clothes on my back.
Yeah. So I tried to get a credit card for her before she left, but unfortunately there wasn't enough time. So I had to give her an auxiliary card of mine. So I said to her,
Can you explain for anyone that doesn't know what that means?
An auxiliary card basically is on my account. So
like
whatever gets spent on that card basically goes on my account to my limit, which at that point was $20,000. So I said to my darling daughter, "Darling, I want you to go and I want you to spend $3,000 and get the essentials until the insurance comes through." Well, I think it was about $18,000 later, my daughter stopped spending. So
honestly,
so was that $3,000 per time that she used the card?
Yeah. It's
was
a
I
small
not
print.
specific yet? Maybe I was not
It's
specific.
your fault. It's your fault.
My fault. But I was
clarity.
Yeah, I was quite specific. But and that you can imagine just totally blew me away.
How did you spend? I couldn't even spend that now, let alone
I remember,
at that age when everything that you want
Please
is
do
a
tell
lot.
me, because I haven't had any explanation.
So
Yeah.
it was things like, I was like, oh, this is a cute little like mini leather skirt for $600. I'll get that. Like who? I'm sorry. Like what? An absolute
Essentials
brat.
as well.
I know.
A mini leather skirt is essential.
So bad.
Don't worry
So
about
bad.
toiletries, underwear, anything like that.
I honestly can't tell you. Like, and that's why I'm like, I kind of can laugh at it now, sort of. I mean, we ended up getting insurance, thank God, because if we didn't, there's no way. I don't know.
$18,000 of insurance?
Yeah, we got contents
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, amazing.
I think maybe I thought, well, we have contents insurance. So
It's
I
fine.
just sort of, went for it. But still, unbelievably like disconnected from how much equals,
Yeah.
like unbelievable. But I don't know, Dad, I was thinking about this before the podcast. I was like, okay, how do I think about money? And then how, because you were never really like saving or investing when we were younger, right? Like it was very much get your money in, spend what you have.
Well, the issue is the business was going really well. And at that stage, I remember we bought your mother a new car, and we sent 3 children off to private schools.
That in itself would be.
Wow.
Oh.
So that was a realization when,
The business wasn't going so
wasn't
well.
going so well, and it made it a little difficult. But
A little difficult, I think, is being very
Yeah.
light on the situation.
Yeah.
So there was obviously a lot of family stress around keeping up with the Joneses, kind of like we've committed to this lifestyle and shit. Now we can. So there was never really conversations about saving or investing because it was just trying to keep up with
Correct.
what you decided to spend your money on.
Yep.
So that then because I think that's why I spend money without thinking. I'm not blaming you. I just mean that
Yeah.
money I have, I just sort of spend.
Yeah.
Because there was never any conversation around what is investing, what is saving, what is GST, like, and I wonder if there's something to do with like,
But you did have a light bulb moment, and where I mean, I've always tried to say that to you, but there seemed to be a light bulb moment where you, and I think, and you at this stage were in Australia at that stage, and I said to you, and you suddenly realised that it wasn't all about going out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or doing what you wanted to do, but to put some aside, and I think from that point, I don't know whether it was a house you were thinking at the time or what it was.
Sorry, what you
No,
saying?
I always think that you've been quite good in that respect of like, once you set things up, you stick to them.
Yes.
Like religiously without a fault.
Well, see, this is kind of what I was about
Yeah.
to say, and it's so interesting. And this is the whole all or nothing thing.
Yeah.
And I think this is since I've realised that I have ADHD. It's the idea of I can go really extreme or really the other way. So at that turning point, I was like, I want to save. But I didn't have the skills or knowledge to find the balance of like, okay, well, how do I do that while also living my life? I would bulk buy porridge and make it for 2 weeks in advance and give myself porridge every meal for 2 weeks in an effort to save money. But I wouldn't buy a coffee out, like turned into the stingiest person in the whole world because I didn't know the balance, So it was either like spend everything or DIY, bring, my packed lunch to a lunch that everyone's going out for. I couldn't.
There's no middle ground.
Yeah, there's no middle ground. And
yeah.
so what you're talking about in terms of being really rigid and being able to stick to it, I can. If I set my mind to something, I'm like, I will do it 100%.
Yeah.
But because I never really had that structure or tools or know-how to implement it in a way that was healthy, it just kind of meant that I was constantly yo-yoing from like, just spend it all to like, shit, okay, well, I'll just save it all.
No budget, basically not putting a budget together.
Yeah, like the flow in and out was never, I never had any plans around that or education as to how to even do it.
Do the kids, even at school nowadays, have that kind of budgeting expertise?
This is the thing. I think it really does come down to the parents. Like, I don't think that.
I think we're more a product of our parents than we realise.
Yeah.
And I think than a lot of people realise.
Oh, gosh.
But I'm adopted, so that's fine.
But yeah, like I would say if I looked at my parents, they're like, even the other day we went to the supermarket, Dad was like, you wouldn't believe it, I found the watermelons were $12 for these giant watermelons. So we went to the supermarket, picked up a watermelon. Kath jumps out, goes to get, this is Dad's wife, gets a watermelon, comes back in, and she'd found a tiny watermelon.
Was the last watermelon?
Yeah.
And it was the smallest one. And I said, you've got to be joking, $12 for that.
So Dad honestly was like making such a fuss about this tiny watermelon for $12 that Kath honestly was halfway out the door to return the watermelon. And I was like, are you joking? I just paid for both of your dinner. Like, just think of it as a free watermelon.
Yeah. It's not like,
Come on. But like, because I had that perspective now, I could say that. And both of them are like, it's kind of a good way to think about it. All right, keep the watermelon.
Yeah. Do you also think it's a generational thing though as well? Like, do you think just being a bit more conscious of money and a bit
slowly
more frugal
from
with
our
money?
parents it is. Well, certainly
That's what I
for
mean.
mine.
Like for them, they were even more so.
Yeah.
So do you think our kids are going to be like, woo, just a bit like not even having care in the world? I don't know. Like I feel like there's different generations, you kind of lose a bit of that frugal mindset a bit. I don't know.
No, I think your knowledge and experience of how to manage money matures over time.
Yeah.
How early can you start that mature process or maturing process? But it's an informational thing, I think. So the more information that presented in the right way at the right age group will give them more knowledge about how to manage money.
I see. So you were taught it later in life. We're taught it younger, and then our kids will even taught it younger.
I was probably well into my 40s before I actually started getting enough badgering from dear Eileen about managing money. Certainly.
God, I wish I was into my 40s before she badgered me about money.
Well, there you go. See, the badgering process is coming earlier. That's what I'm saying. It's moving back down in terms of generational age.
Yeah.
But also maybe that just comes down to the fact that talking about money as well has been so taboo and awkward for everybody up until, it still is. Even our friends hardly talk about it with each other. We're slowly trying to start that conversation, but maybe at the point where it does become so normal, we will be talking about these things at the dinner table at 5 years old, opposed to, because if I look at the people who are amazing with their money, it is those that have had it modeled early. So either the parents have been in business or in finance. So they've just been around the conversation forever. It's just normal. I think unless you have it around you, you just, honestly, it wasn't until we started the curve that I even knew what a stock was. Like, I want to talk to my kids about that when they're really young.
Yeah.
Or tax. I still don't even really understand tax.
Neither.
Okay, that's not. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. I think it's also the school system needs a big shake-up. It's like we get
agree.
taught trigonometry and Pythagoras and we don't get taught taxes,
Budgeting
how to read a contract or budgeting, all of that. So what would be one thing you wish you had taught us or you wish you'd done differently with us when we were younger in terms of money?
I don't know. I think as issues were raised, we dealt with them. I don't think we didn't avoid anything.
Yeah.
Could we have done something better? Could we have explained things better earlier? Yes, probably. But as I say, I think that's that generational thing that you're going to take it to. You're taking it to a younger generation now a lot earlier than we did, with a lot more information. And I think it's just talking about the whole process and understanding it more of money management.
Totally agree.
Sense.
I don't think we would have changed. My mother was in a stock group and actually that's what with a group of her girlfriends and they did it. No, I saw that, but I guess wasn't in a situation to be able to do that.
But did she talk to you about investing?
Oh, I remember being at home when she'd have a group of girlfriends around and they'd talk about stocks and each of them researched it. So that doesn't necessarily mean to say that I become a stockbroker.
Yeah, see, that's interesting. You did have it around you.
Yeah.
You still didn't learn. Sorry, this sounds a bit rude.
But I think what you guys are doing as far as exactly as Ian said, that they are being exposed to it, even if it's in their late teens and early 20s, I think is just the ideal time because that's the start of the journey and that's when you need to realise that you need to put money aside as well as spend money. So I think you guys are doing a great job.
Oh, do you know what? Can I just tell a really funny story before we finish? When I first told Dad about what the curve was, he was like, oh, have you heard of sorted.co.nz? There's actually another business if you just quickly Google sorted. And I was like, Dad, that's not what we're trying to well, there's already things like that. And I was like, no, Dad, I think you're just going to have to think I've got a shit idea for now and then, just maybe in a year. Anyway, he came back and he was like, okay, take it back. The curve's quite a clever idea.
Quite a clever idea, yeah. But I just want to finish on the fact that, well, we are half of you both and we wouldn't be able to do this literally without you here. So technically, you should be very proud of yourselves. And us. Lol.
We are.
But, it's kind of, yes, you did your best that you could with us and you've passed that on and now we're going to do the best that we can with our kids hopefully one day. So,
Love that fact. It's really cute.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank
also-
you, guys.
Well done. No,
Yeah,
we,
like,
It's been most enjoyable.
Session 2, we'll come up with some real good ones.
Yeah, some party shirts. We should all wear a party shirt.
God, fun.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
No, but thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
coming, and I know neither of you wanted to do this, so
I think we're probably more easily swayed than you believe.
Yes, yeah. You love us, so you have to.
Yeah.
daddy's little girls, you know.
Yeah. No question.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, good.
Thank you so much for listening to Raising the Curve. These conversations are designed to teach you everything that you need to know to be better with your money, from saving to investing to talking to your friends about your salaries.
And if you liked what you heard, we would love it if you could hit the subscribe button, please.
Yes,
or
please.
better yet, leave a review. It only
nice
takes
one.
5 seconds and it would really make our week, our year, our month.
Okay, lots of love. See you soon.
Bye.